Welcome to Chat TPT, a podcast about music business from the unique perspective of content creators in the trumpet community. We are so excited to have you here with us today as we dive into the world of trumpet playing, content creation, and everything in between. We hope that you'll find a supportive and inclusive space with us where musicians from all backgrounds can learn, collaborate, and support one another. Hello and welcome to Chat GPT, the best, one of the best social media trumpet thingies that on the internet.
One of the best. That's our new slogan. Has to be one of the best. What'd you say? You said the best. One of the best social media trumpet thingies. That has to be okay.
I didn't
website time.
I didn't want to say we were the best because that's too much like a trumpet player, you know? Too much ego.
Yeah, why would trumpet players act like trumpet players? We can't have that. Absolutely unacceptable.
Oh, the worst. Okay, so, oh my God, we can't access, I don't know what my computer, I'm just not going to touch anything.
What's going on? Do you need my help with something?
No, my logic just keeps popping up and it just keeps going like, doot, 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 doot.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, so Dr. Chloe Swindler just released her, she's been doing a bunch of great things with trumpet fundamentals and stuff, which I think is awesome. And like, they're all fantastic ideas and it takes so much time and thought and effort to like put it into motion. And she's doing that, which is fantastic. And she just released
I am very proud of her.
She just released a Christmas duet book, which I think is great. And stuff like that, it takes time to write. And I think it's awesome when people put stuff out like that. And I checked, it's like $12.99 to download the 25 duets. And it's like, that's super affordable. And it's also like a way to, for her to make money. And, you know, kind of like she said, I think on her stories, she was like, yeah, I like woke up and I made a bunch of money overnight because I sold some of my book or someone, you know, registered for my course. And that's fantastic. So I always feel like whenever I'm doing something, I'm very hyper independent. So I don't want to ask for help from anyone ever. It's one of my toxic traits. Like if I could live out in the mountains in a cabin and not have to ask anyone for help ever, like I'll grow my own food, I'll prepare, you know, I will do everything by myself. Like that would be perfect. But so I hate asking for help. But a lot of the time, you know, we just don't have enough time to do everything. So, you know, we'll buy an arrangement or we'll buy, you know, a book of etudes and fundamentals and stuff because it takes a lot of time to write them all out and to figure them all out. And a lot of us don't have the time to do that. So the fact that this book is super affordable, that there's, you know, 25 Christmas carols in there, that it's going towards supporting another trumpet player, another freelance trumpet player who's, you know, in the same boat as all of us. I think it's fantastic. So I'm going to go buy it because a lot of my little students I say little students, I've got grown-ups and kids, but a lot of my students like to read Christmas carols and they want to do that sort of stuff. And I think it's awesome to have that in your library for when the holiday season comes around.
Yeah. And I already bought it. I pre-ordered it and it's super awesome. I am going to take a quick moment to share the cover. Doesn't that look nice?
It's beautiful. I bet she designed that too.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I love, like, this is, you know, so we're talking about musicians making a living on their own, right? Like by themselves and you know, doing all the things they need. So we're not talking about getting a publisher to having it get it done, right? She's been posting recordings. We're not talking about her, you know, getting a sound engineer and hiring a sound engineer to do those things. We're not talking about her hiring a social media. She's doing this as a part of her career, right? Like on her own and sometimes with friends, right? But for the most part, she's done this by herself. I love that you wanted to hit record. We were talking and you were like, let's hit record. We're going to shout her out because Chloe's amazing. I talked with her recently a few weeks ago about some social media related things. And while we were talking, it was just like I just wanted to like admire the fact that in 9 weeks she's taken an Instagram page from 0 to 10,000 followers, and now she's may have crossed 12K by now, but if not, she's close to it. But trumpet fundamentals, I mean, she's adding value. She's giving sheet music warm-ups, etc., which the way she's putting it out leads me to believe that she's putting together a book of warm-ups, like the way that she's been showing it. We'll have to confirm that with her. But it looks, but she's adding that value. So first of all, it's really good for retention if we're talking social media, right? You get to follow along with the music and you get to hear her play, which her playing is great, by the way. She sounds awesome all the time, which is awesome. So she's adding that value to the community in a way that it's rare still right now, way more rare than it should, that we have quality music and warm-ups and resources out for individuals wanting to improve their craft. So that is absolutely the type of profile that we want to go from 0 to 10K in 9 weeks. She just recently passed 1,000 on YouTube and also 1,000 on TikTok.
Yeah.
So she's doing the whole thing, and we're all rooting for her. Again, rising waters lifts all ships. Every individual who builds their audience, that audience will be privy to everyone else who works in that craft. And when the market grows, it helps and benefits everyone. But also, we just want the people who are doing what we do to succeed. When we see that happen, we know that it can continue to happen for other people. So yeah, anyway, her book is great. I've already started having, as it is Christmas season right now, having my students play through duets from her book with me, and they work really well. And her branding is on point. So yeah.
I think it's important to mention, as we are not only like a trumpet nerd place, we are also a content creator, social media sort of hub. And the stuff that Chloe's doing is really awesome. Right now, the posts with music like on the videos are super popular, because a lot of the time when you get brand new musicians or like beginners, their ears aren't good enough to like just sit down and transcribe, or they don't have enough time to sit down and transcribe what you're doing. So having that visual is super helpful. The other thing that comes into play is like copyright stuff, which is why I don't like to post a lot of music on the page unless it's just like a short excerpt, because once again, like people put in a lot of time writing their music and they deserve to be compensated for it. So that's the only thing that I want to say about that. So like if I do put something on my page that has a little musical excerpt, it's either just going to be an excerpt or it's going to be something that I myself transcribed or that I wrote out, because I want to be respectful to all other creators in that way as well.
Yeah, yeah. Something you own the rights to, or something that's going to push someone to the individual who owns the right to them, right? And that's a really great and powerful thing about social media. And I love that we have the opportunity to do that. I've been the same way for a while. A lot of my arrangements are arrangements that are arrangements of popular music and so on and so forth. And if people want access to that music, I send them the link to the person that they can get that from, and rather than putting the sheet music itself on my channels. However, there are some instances where that might be changing in the future as I make more content from scratch and exercises and whatnot to help with the community. And it's a type of thing that it's just really great and really helpful to have the opportunity just to share as many resources as you can with people. So yeah, copyright is a thing that exists. That's why you don't see every musician doing it all the time. I mean, most of us would love to always share everything with everyone. But being respectful of intellectual property and being able to support the right channels at the right times is obviously a very necessary and appropriate thing to do, and which is something that Chloe also does really well, which makes me very happy. We need people like Chloe out there, and people like you out there, and other individuals who are taking the social media space and using it to create valuable, impactful content for individuals who may or may not get it in any other way to that extent.
So, Marcus, I know we were planning today to talk about imposter syndrome, but
Yeah,
now I really want to talk about social media growth. And I want to talk about
let's do
the
it.
things that we've done as creators and the things, the trends that we've noticed within our own platforms, and also just tips that we might have for other people who are looking to grow their own social media. So, I mean, when I first got on Instagram and TikTok and all of those things, like I was amazed by all of your multi-track stuff, your arrangements, all of it, like the video editing, the audio editing, all of it was just so awesome. So, I mean, you want to talk a little bit about that?
You're so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that. And then we're going to get you talking too, because you have lots of value behind your content and the stuff that you've been promoting and doing as well. So yeah, I got into the art of multi-tracking first. It was a long time ago, like 2016. I was a student in college at the time, and I essentially wanted to. I put together a recording of my arrangement of Amazing Grace for five trumpets, and I just wanted to see what I could potentially do. It was like an experiment type of thing. I pulled up Audacity and I played into the built-in microphone that was in my computer, and great pristine quality that was, with the computer fan and the distorted sound and everything. But even with that, was a really great and rewarding. It was a rewarding enough experience that I wanted to sort of get into the realm of doing that more often. It was kind of around the beginning, like the first few years of seeing people like Christopher Bill put out content online. For a little bit of time, we had Maniacal 4 putting out content. They were not doing multi-tracking, but they were getting together and doing music video type recordings, doing some fun things like that. And we also had individuals, non-brass players, people like Taylor Davis on violin, and just some musicians kind of just doing some really cool things that at the time we didn't imagine was possible, but it obviously was, and it is, and the resources we have now are a lot more accessible. So that's kind of where the interest started. As we got closer to like 2018 or so, some of my good friends in the brass world started doing more things. So we started seeing things like stuff from Seb Skelly. We started seeing things like stuff from David Cook, and so on and so forth. And so it just encouraged me to start getting into that art. Yeah, I was in a very tough financial situation at that particular point in time. And when I say tough, I mean like not meeting bills, tough. So I just had to do what I could do with what I had, So terrible quality, like webcam. I didn't even own a camera. My phone was like 9 years old. So not even my phone camera was of quality. And the receiver on the phone had received water damage. So I couldn't even use the camera on that phone anyway, which was the best, quality camera I had, but I couldn't use it. All sorts of obstacles, right? But I just wanted to do it. And I didn't have, the built-in microphone in the webcam was the microphone that I had, but I just wanted to put things together, and so I did. And as I went through that process, I just every single time that I produced a video, I chose one thing to improve that I felt I could improve from what I did previously. The really cool thing about being a musician is that we've already gone through the process of what it takes to go from nothing to professional. It's a long process. It takes lots of patience. Sometimes you run into roadblocks. Sometimes you feel as though you should be further along than you are. Sometimes you share things with the world and it doesn't get the response that you hoped it had. All of these things are a part of being a musician. So when it comes to content creation, it's really kind of a natural outgrowth of, okay, I already know what this feels like. I know what this process is. I've gone through the the uninformed optimism of like, oh, I'm going to do this. It's so exciting. Then the informed pessimism, right? Of the like, wow, this is so much harder than I thought it would be. And all of that and the lows that come with that. And then with the informed optimism of, okay, cool, but I can do this. I can build this skill and I can build that skill. And every time I build the skill, it provides more value to the people who I love, And so I've been through that process before. So as a content creator, for those who are looking to either start it or who are looking to build their audience over time, just understand you're going to go through that experience again, and it's okay because you know how it ends, right? You know that you have the ability to provide great value and to do really great things. And some people will gain followers really quickly. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to gain a quality real quickly. It doesn't mean that they're going to make money or that they're going to be famous or whatever the case may be. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be successful. But then also you could be gaining followers at a much slower extent, right? And still end up getting, because of the type of content that you're providing and the value that you're providing, you could get much bigger opportunities from what you are providing. So going through that process and just sort of understanding it is a process and it's something to be committed to. And there are rewards along every process, every part of that process. It's really what kind of got me into going through that. So when I first put together multi-tracks, they would take me like 12 hours to put like a minute together. And again, because of all of the stuff that I had in my computer couldn't deal with multiple videos playing at once, so it would freeze and shut down. But I enjoyed the process. So I went through and I did whatever I could. Eventually I started being able to slowly upgrade my equipment and things over the years, and upgrade my playing over the years as well. And I'm, I still feel like I'm in a beginning process with regards to what I want to be able to do in the future, but definitely have grown quite a bit and have been able to do a lot of really fun things for some individuals and share a lot of things. So yeah. Is there anything specifically that you want me to talk about with regards to multi-tracking or growing content?
I think you have a much better understanding of YouTube and, how to grow followers on YouTube, how to get monetized. Like, you've walked me through, you need this many minutes of view time or hours view time,
Yeah.
or this many subscribers. So maybe just, if you wanted to just go through all of that and share what your process has been, like figuring all of that out. I know you
Okay.
look a lot into the stats and the analytics for everything.
I am a nerd.
Exactly. And I think that those are important things to know when you're, posting on social media and you're looking to actively grow.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm happy to talk about that, and then we can have you do some talk about Instagram. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. So I post the majority of my content on YouTube, and I base what I put together for the most part on YouTube. So that's why I put all the time that I put towards trying to learn the platform, trying to learn the algorithm, and so on and so forth. The best thing that you can possibly do for yourself and your brand is to understand that the algorithm's job is to keep viewers on the platform for as long as possible. So your job is to find who your audience is, decide who that audience is, and then create content not just that they like, but that they love, that they like can't live without, that they're going to be really excited whenever they see you post something again, and they're going to come and watch your content. YouTube differs from TikTok and Instagram and so on and so forth in a few ways. From Twitch, from live streams, and that type of thing, is in some ways YouTube has all of it, right? They have short form content, they have live streams, and then natively and for the longest of the pieces and types of content they've had is they're just typical videos with thumbnails and titles that you click on. What that means is for the main part of YouTube's platform is that you have to have a topic and a photo for that topic that is interesting enough that someone has to make the conscious decision to click on. YouTube, especially YouTube mobile, now plays very seamlessly plays an autoplay feature. So your intros are as important now, if not more important, depending on the context and the audience and whatnot of your thumbnail and your title. I would say for musicians, probably your thumbnail and title are still more important just because you've got to get people to click on them. But you got to get their interest and then they've got to watch it. Whereas if you're scrolling through YouTube Shorts or you're scrolling through TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever, you see the start of the video and then you decide whether or not to keep watching, right? So you have to get their permission to make the action to click. And then once they do that, you have to give them a reason to want to stay. So your title and your thumbnail set expectations. When you click on that video, then you want the beginning of the video to assure them that you are going to meet those expectations. So you're not going to say, this is a video of how to play high notes. Like the video title is not going to be how to play high notes. And then you play Christmas duets. Christmas duets are great, but you will have lied to your audience, right? And they're going to be like, this isn't what I'm looking for. And they're going to click off and that will do poorly for you, right? So find your audience and then promise them something that you can deliver to them and then deliver it to them. And then if you go the step further and you give them more than what they expected, but what they like because it's related to whatever that video is. So for example, if you teach them how to play high notes, but through the process of teaching them how to play high notes, you teach them how to increase their stamina while playing high notes and to sound great while playing their high notes, you've exceeded their expectations and they're going to be really happy about that video and they're going to want to watch your next video, right? And YouTube's algorithm will notice that that person has watched the video to the end, that they've watched more of that content, and they're going to recommend those people your content and people who have similar watching habits. And that's how your audience grows. The process behind that, all you really need to know about it, if we were to break it down to its simplest form, make content that that your audience will enjoy. And then do that consistently. Every time you do something, pick one thing to improve upon, right? And be patient and go through that process with as much patience as you can. The more that you know, the more you'll be able to make videos that are better quality, And when we talk about quality, we're talking about things like engagement, reasons why people would watch, not necessarily that you are the greatest trumpet player that's ever lived. In some cases, it really doesn't matter like you think it does. But what does matter is, does your audience like your content? So if you do that, you're going to do pretty well on YouTube. Even when you stop posting things. I mean, listen, I haven't posted. It's been a very long time since I've posted a dedicated long form video that I've put a concerted amount of effort towards. And my channel continues to grow. And that's one of the cool things about YouTube is that, it favors both relevance and timelessness. So you can post trendy videos that will get a lot of views over a short period of time and then top off. You can also post content that people will search and will find on a constant basis that will grow steadily over years and years of time. So anyway, YouTube is a really great place to be. I enjoy it. You did also ask me to say a little bit about the monetization side of things. So just little stats for you. You need to get 1,000 subscribers total and 4,000 watch hours, public watch hours. So YouTube Shorts don't count for that. But you need those two instances and an account in good standing to apply for monetization. And they recently, a few months ago, came out with a different eligibility for certain parts of their partner program. I'm going to look it up to make sure I give you the correct information. Yes. Okay. So they added, if you don't get 4,000 public watch hours, but you do get, you get 10 million shorts views. So if you go viral on shorts, right, and you have 1,000 subscribers, you can apply for their partner program. Also, you have access to super chats and stores. So if you've been on Twitch, super chats are essentially you pay money like a sub, like a special message, and then you can put that message up on the top of the feed, either on a live stream or on a YouTube video. So you'll get permission for that. Basically, people to start spending money on you, and you can put up a shop and a store embedded in your videos. You can do that at 500 subscribers and 3,000 public watch hours. So there's a tier system now on YouTube that wasn't there even recently, and they've really tried to make things more accessible for people to make money. So now you know.
The things you learn from Marcus. Marcus is great. So Marcus and Chloe have a similar approach to social media. They're very focused, very like planning things out. I am chaotic and I just do what I want to do and I do what I like. And if people like it, then that's great. Um, every
Tell us more about it.
I really tried to do the whole planning your posts thing because like it's a great feature. It is fantastic if you know exactly like what you want to post, when you want to post it, and you like just batch create and drop it every single day. That is boring and that feels like work to me and I don't like it. So everything to me is just a fun little game. If I think something is funny and I get an idea, then I'm going to record it or I'm going to, you know, do something creative and post it online. And a lot of my stuff, my inspiration either comes from being goofy and silly or from things that I encounter in teaching with my students or my own practice sessions. So things that I'm working on, things that I have learned that I think the world should also learn. Like, don't be so hard on yourself because you're not going to get better if you're just beating yourself up. And that's something that I still struggle with, but it's very chaotic. My process is very chaotic. So I'll like have a bunch of ideas and usually when I post something, I will have recorded it that day because I am terrible at thinking in advance. And I'm very like object permanence is a problem for me. So like something happens, that's what I'm focused on. So that's how I do a lot of my content creation. I don't want it to feel like a job. I don't want it to feel like I have to do something every day. Sometimes I'll make myself like a little goal and be like this semester I did was doing like a scale challenge. And that was just something that I was working on that I took from a jazz class from when I was at U of I. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to practice this one scale around the circle of fourths for a week and I'll record it. And then the next week I'll do another scale. So I'm still working on the challenge because I kind of dropped off for a few weeks because life happens. But that's something like a little goal that I set for myself. I have this full social media plan for like Mondays I'm going to post about this. Tuesday I'm going to post about this. I have it all planned out. Am I doing it? Absolutely not, because I don't like to follow instructions. Even if I created the instructions for myself, that's like another toxic trait. What is that? Like defiance of authority or something. Anyways, I don't like being told what to do. So I have to trick myself. Everything's a little game to me. So that's kind of what my process is for Instagram and TikTok. Most of my content is on Instagram. I repurpose it to TikTok and YouTube often like much later after I've posted it on Instagram because it's an afterthought. Everything, like I said, is chaotic. I just post what I feel like posting when I feel like posting it, and the reactions that I get, you know, that's what I get. And if I like what I posted or if I thought it was funny because I think I'm hilarious, I will share it to other platforms as well. So,
well, let me be the first to tell you, Kayla, that you are doing it all wrong. You should have a schedule. You need to plan out at least 3 years in advance and have all of your content ready. How dare you? What are you thinking?
well, I'll have you know that yesterday I finished scheduling shorts for YouTube into
Nice.
2024, and I've just repurposed the last like 30 or 40 reels that I made on Instagram, and I'm throwing them on YouTube for the world to see. So we'll see.
Nice.
The thing that I love,
I think. No, go ahead.
the thing that I love about Instagram is that I've built a community where I enjoy spending time on Instagram and I enjoy putting out content there. And that's sort of what I'm here for. Like a bunch of my friends I've met on social media through Instagram. And when I post something, I try to either make it funny or educational, trumpet related, anything like that. Sometimes it's life related, but mostly trumpet related. And if I get comments that are like, oh, why do you do this? Then I'll either reply in a comment or I'll reply in a video. So I want to create accessibility for everybody. If people have questions about like, oh, how do you play high notes? And that's one thing that I love about Chloe's page is that it's so accessible. Like if a student has never taken trumpet lessons before, maybe their family can't afford trumpet lessons, they can go and they can get quality information, because there's a lot of bad information out there. But
Yep.
they can get quality information about this thing and they can work on teaching themselves. And a lot of people will send me messages and ask about, well, what do you do for warm-ups? What do you do for this? And I'll tell them, like, you don't have to sign up for lessons with me for me to give you information. I will respond as much as I can to comments and stuff like that. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I've grown so much. Another reason why I've grown so much is controversy. So you post something that's controversial and the internet will explode and you won't have to do anything. And the algorithm will push your content to everyone and you will go viral. And I drank water out of my tuning slide last summer. And I said it was water in the description, but people don't read. They don't read anymore. People just watch videos and they're like, oh my goodness, she just drank spit. And it's all over the internet now. And people come up to me and they're like, oh, you're the girl that drank spit. And I was like, it was water, but yes.
No, you drank condensation.
I did drink condensation. Anyway, so, the other thing about the internet is that people don't want to see, I don't want to say people don't want to see, like, you absolutely slaying like a concerto or something like that, but people want to see silly things that they can laugh along to. Like the most goofiest things will blow up. I've posted videos of me playing like the hardest trumpet music possible, well, for me, and, 3 views, not actually, but like, and then I'll post a video of me playing like the Star Wars theme, something that everybody knows, and it will blow up and people will want to watch it. So it's, again, getting to know your audience. As a trumpet player, I have the opportunity to make my content extremely niche and extremely like focused on professional, classically trained trumpet players. That doesn't sound fun to me. It's way more fun when you can introduce people who know nothing about the trumpet, know nothing about music, and you can introduce them to this part of your life, this part of, society, because we're like a whole little community out here. I don't know if I said anything helpful at all. I was just talking about
Stop it. Stop it.
I'm just chaotic.
Stop it. Kayla, I wrote, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I wrote 7 different points from what you just said because I wanted to hit all of them because they're so flippin' good. So I don't know if I said anything helpful to me. Who do you think you are?
I'm sorry.
We're gonna back up. Beep beep. Okay. Planning content. I think you would be surprised as to how chaotic my process is with planning content. I think it looks really well organized because of the end result. I think that's the only bit that is organized. It is a passion project, right? Music is a passion project, and content creation certainly is as well. And it's a project for which a big part of yourself, you're sharing with your audience your personality and your loves and your desires. So when you see something that's really cool, you want to share it with people. Oftentimes, maybe it's a larger thing, in which case, okay, cool, you're going to plan things out. For example, I really love the book by Trumpet Fundamentals with Chloe for the duets. So probably for the next few weeks, I'm going to be recording a lot, if not all of them, and so I'm going to plan that out. But the plan is, I love this book and I want to play through it, right? It's not like it's Christmas season, and so now for the algorithm to push me out, no, Not at all. But you know what's really cool about that is like because the algorithms drop, and I say algorithm, every algorithm, TikTok, YouTube, in various forms, Instagram, any algorithm of any social media platform is to put stuff in front of the right people who will enjoy it and will want to stay on the platform and watch for as long as possible. You're just doing stuff that you enjoy, and if you have a community that enjoys what you enjoy, then that's how you do what you do. And so they're going to love you no matter how chaotic you are, as long as you're serving them right. And I think probably, I mean, so first of all, I think that I've spoken to Chloe and one other person, like when we met, I'll talk to you about it off of episode, but I think we should bring Chloe in as a guest, and we should have a part 2 to this episode with trumpet fundamentals with Chloe. Second of all, I also want to give a shout out to the owner of Trumpet Headquarters, Estella Aragon, because she also does very similar things and is very great at that. And we both know her really well. But Kayla, you've worked with her, right?
I work for her. She is the best boss I've ever had. And she's also a very good friend. And I love working with her. So yes, we should invite her on too. We should invite so many people here.
Yes, all of the people. We just need an entire season of us inviting all of the amazing people that are in our lives that are also doing those similar things on to talk with our audiences. It would be really fun. It's pretty normal for a lot of podcasts to invite people on anyway. So we wouldn't be doing anything super crazy by doing that. I think it'd be fun. But yeah, so planning content, yeah, great, awesome. Like you can plan it out. You could wake up one morning and go, holy cow, this is really fun. I'm going to record it and just share it with my friends and family and, my community. And oftentimes that is something that is really, really common, more common than you might think among content creators in general, people who post things up on a semi-regular or regular basis. You mentioned about, your community and making stuff for them. And that's really the most important part, one of the most at least important parts about creating content, is that you're doing stuff for yourself and for people. And when people comment on your work and people ask for questions, you answer them and interact with them. It creates a connection in a way that previously, before the world of social media content creation, was only possible, if you go to national or international events, So you have people who, we talked about this in previous episodes, we have people who watch certain people on YouTube or on TikTok or on Instagram in the trumpet community for years. And then one day they run into that person at the National Trumpet Competition or the International Trumpet Guild or a Midwest Clinic or whatever, any area that you might find musicians who are like-minded at. And there's that building anticipation because you've seen that value, you've had so many smiles or laughs or whatever the case may be from that person's content, and you really, really, really want to meet them, and you have the opportunity to meet them, and it becomes a really cool and special opportunity. That doesn't happen unless you pay attention to your community and you give your community value and you do things that make them happy. But again, if your community is the right community, if you build your community around stuff that you love, then the stuff that they love is going to be the stuff that you love. So you wake up and you do what you love, and then you share it with other people who also love it. And it's a flippin' awesome life, right? It's great. Watch time in some way, shape, or form causes content to be pushed out. So oftentimes when you do something that's controversial and people interact with it and they watch it and they share it with people, it goes viral. We should share that video in this episode. Please, pretty please.
The spit video? I mean the condensation.
Yes. The condensation spit video.
Let me find it. It was from quite a while ago.
It's okay. We can put it up in the edits if you want after,
Oh, that's so smart. Let's do that.
Have it. Yeah, we can do
Let's
that.
do that.
We can do that. But yeah, I think we should show that because I think there's some people who maybe would be like, that's her, which would be amazing.
Welcome to Dulux, such a perfect town. Here we have some rules, let us lay them down.
But yeah, there's also a little bit. I mean, I've done some mildly controversial things. Not really. I just do silly things on the internet, and people share the silly things. But I did have the trending audio of practice that went pretty far on Instagram and on TikTok, which was pretty fun as well. But it's another one of those like people. The mild controversy side of things is people who just are bent on believing that people are naturally talented and then trying to argue their way into proving to disproving people's real life experiences. And that overall thing is what caused that video and that trend to go so hard for so long. And I mean, it was over a year of people continually posting content like that and arguing with each other about what really makes success, which is hilarious to me. The controversy is a really strong way to build and grow an audience and to get well known, because you're then on people's radar. But then, show them who you are, show them what your love and your passion is, and the right people to stick around in your community will stick around. And so that's how you do it. I mean, definitely don't make controversy your entire personality. You will hate posting content. Do not ever do that, right? But it's not the worst thing in the world to post something controversial. Are you ready for another shout out? Jacqueline Langford, mouthpiece bopping.
Yes.
The National Trumpet Competition. So University of Southern California played Eric Moraes's. Oh my gosh, my mind is blanking. Help me,
Cityscapes.
Kayla. Cityscapes. One of the harder pieces he's written for trumpet quintet. They performed it phenomenally. But there's a section in the third movement where there's mouthpiece bopping, and obviously at the National Trumpet Competition, there are some fairly experienced trumpet players, who watched the performance, and none of them were bothered by it, right? However, when that video was posted up on the internet, it was bothered by everyone on the internet who thinks they know better than the Terry Eversons and Joey Tartells and Alan Vizzutis and Rex Richardsons and all the titans of the trumpet world. It's so great. It's funny. It's funny. It's funny. Anyway, but Dr. Langford took one of the clips from that performance of our friends, right? And the trumpet community is very tight. For if you're not a part of that community and haven't noticed, please become a part of the community. We will welcome you with open arms. But we all know each other, and so those things were, it was shared. I think she shared it first on TikTok. And then people just lost their mind. They're like, oh my gosh, you're going to need a mouthpiece puller and all that stuff. And then she created maybe a dozen derivative pieces of content off of that, to which she ended up, she had the video of how many bops it take to get a mouthpiece stuck and all of those videos that she put out. Some pretty funny content. But that was something that got a lot of attention as well. So yeah, controversy is a thing. You mentioned relatability. So I just want to mention as well, content that is relatable is what gets attention, not content necessarily that quote unquote sounds great, right? Sounding great is secondary in the world of content creation, which is opposite of what you've been taught in music school. So just keep that in mind. If you sound great, you want to sound so great that it by itself is remarkable enough that people cannot stop watching, which is really hard to do. It's an expectation to be the best in the world at what you do in our music field. It's not necessarily an expectation to drink spit out of your leak pipe. So
Who would do that? That's so silly.
as people would say. But just keep that in mind. If you're trying to build and grow, develop, you want to be relatable. You don't want to set yourself apart from the natural everyday person who is scrolling through TikTok or through Instagram or through YouTube. You want them to be able to see something they can remark on. And that's the other thing I wrote. Remarkable. You want something that someone is literally able to remark on. And when you know your audience, then it's a lot easier to do that. So listen, all of those things came from that little bit that you said there's no value. How dare you? I'm calling you out, Kayla. I'm calling you out. But content creation is really great because you're able to introduce, again, like you said, enthusiasts of music to what you do. And so it makes the overall audience of people who appreciate music. And even, I mean, when they go further into your profile, if you have classical music examples, it makes them appreciative of classical music in a way that maybe they wouldn't have. So our audience grows as a result of it. And it's a really great and beautiful thing.
Yeah, I like that. I think one of the biggest things about the content creation and getting, the reach, I think I pulled up my my analytics here if we wanted to
Nice.
share, but you want to start a discussion. So sometimes you have to like poke around a little bit, like spit versus condensation, or like ask people what their take on something is. Like, I don't post on the internet thinking that I know everything, because I do not. I know a very little amount of things. And everybody has
The more you
different
learn, the less you know.
and everyone has different experiences. So like I'll post things about like, oh, what do you like to do for, flexibility, or what's your favorite book to read to sight read out of, stuff like that. And by posting those questions, then you get people to interact, and then you find out a whole bunch of other things that maybe you didn't know. And then other people who are like scrolling through the comments, they'll learn something, and you're just sharing all of this information, and it's great. And then you can go and you can purchase the book and, support whoever wrote it. But like you can get the information from like good trumpet players. Like there's a ton of really, really great trumpet players and teachers out there that are providing this information for free. And we need to take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so powerful. I hope that people watching and listening to this podcast go back and listen to what you just said again, and just let that take it in, because that's very, very powerful. You saying that reminded me of one of the things that I do on YouTube, since they have now made their community post a lot more accessible for people to use. I use mine depending on the season of time. I use it quite a bit. Sometimes I'll just sit down and have spurts where I just have a bunch of things. I like to use the poll feature very commonly. Sometimes I'll post very serious questions. Sometimes I'll post very silly questions. Sometimes I'll, purposely post controversial questions. So I'm scrolling through here right now. I have a post from 6 months ago. It's a poll with two options. And says, which of the following is true about the oboe? And in parentheses, it says, extremely accurate poll. Option 1 is, the oboe is just a soprano clarinet. Option number 2 is, the oboe is just a muted trumpet. And it's funny, right? So people comment on it, right? But then I have other things, like right below that. I ask people, if you're a high school, student looking for a private lessons teacher, would you rather go with a seasoned professional who maybe doesn't have trained skills as a teacher, or a passionate college student who is a music major? And those are the same conversation, like those are the same profile, the same week, the same type of things, but doing things that get people talking, that you get to hear other people's feedback, and you get their experience, and you get to learn from your audience, and your audience gets to learn from each other. It's a really great thing to do. I was trying to search for one specific one. I haven't been able to find it. Yes. Okay. 9 months ago, I posted. This might be worth. Hold on. Let's just hit the little share. Hit the little share button. Share our screen here. We are going to. So the community post. Just to be super clear on your profile. You have home videos, shorts, live playlists, and then community. So if you have a YouTube channel that has been verified, and I say verified, it doesn't mean what that means on Instagram or on TikTok or that type. You don't have to have the check mark. You just have to be verified that you're a human being. So you have two-factor authentication, that type of thing. You can post on the community tab, which used to be reserved to people who were only a part of the partner program. So again, like we talked about, 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours over the past 12 months. But they've made it available to, I think, just about anyone. Because I'm pretty sure that our YouTube channel podcast has the community tab available. And we have done it. We are in the very little like baby stages of growing that channel. So anyway, these are all the posts I do, right? There's a bunch of them. This one got more popular than the average one. You can probably tell why.
Because it's silly.
But yeah, and for those of you who are listening and not watching on the YouTube video, it says which instrument is better, the clarinet or the trumpet? Again, in parentheses, extremely fair poll. Option 1 is trumpet, which 65% of the people voted for that. Option 2 is trumpet, 5% people voted that. Option 3 is trumpet, again another 5%. Option 4, trumpet, 4%. Option 5, clarinet is definitely better. Is definitely not better than trumpet. And then 20 people voted for that. Clarinet is definitely not better than trumpet. That's 222 votes total, which is more than quadruple the one before it and the one after it. And it has 11 comments. People just, again, people like discussion, and obviously I was trolling very hard with that. But then we go up a little bit further. If you had to pick one of two brands for your next trumpet purchase, which would you choose, Yamaha or Bach? Obviously, there are more brands than that, but curious as to what my audience thinks, right? So those types of things, I'm showing this on the YouTube community posts. There is nothing stopping you from doing the same thing on TikTok, asking your audience for things and having a poll to vote. There's nothing to stop you from having polls on stories, on Instagram, or even on Facebook, but things that get your audience engaged with each other and talking and feeling like they're a part of a community. It's really helpful. That's why we do what we do, right? Is so that we can create a community that will have entertainment, and we can bring joy and we can bring value to their lives in a way that they otherwise wouldn't. Because otherwise they're going to doom scroll through social media and see things that make them lose brain cells, right? So hopefully, hopefully we are reducing the amount of brain cells that are lost from the other things they watch. Maybe they see a really cute, cat video every now and then as well. But then if they see a really awesome and immediately applicable lip slur exercise from Trumpet Fundamentals, then it's going to make them a better trumpet player. Then they're all for the better, right? But that's the type of thing that we do, is we build communities and we share things with that community, and that's what makes content creation so fun and rewarding.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that studies show that drinking your own spit from your trumpet can actually make you play higher by an octave. So
I think that was a study proven by Oberlin Conservatory. It's totally legit.
I think so too. Yeah, a lot of people have done this study, and studies have shown that there's
we're kidding. Do not do not email the trumpet professor at Oberlin, professors at Oberlin, and be like, hey, this podcast said. No, they did not. They did not.
But yeah, 95% increase in your range. So
that's true. It's true. I used to only be able to go from a C to a D, and then I drank spit from my trumpet, and then I could play a C to an E. It was, incredible. It was a 100% improvement at that point. Yeah, I could go 2 whole steps. It was amazing. Wow. And now I'm a professional. That's how it happened. You thought it was the years of college and, decades of practicing and thousands and thousands of, no. It was drinking from the main tuning slide. That's what it was.
The magic fountain. The magic fountain of high notes.
I love how you've just now started calling it spit for the meme. It's great.
I'm a performer. I have to hop on the train. I think before we wrap up, I did want to touch on consistency of posts. So there's, quality versus quantity. And I don't notice a huge difference between the two. It's great to have good quality posts out there, like the stuff that Chloe's putting out. And I know for a fact that takes time to record it, get a good take, to put it together, make sure that it's looking very professional. And she does an amazing job. but also quantity. Kind of, it shows your followers sort of like a behind the scene. You know, I don't go through and edit all of my stuff. I'll record it. Like I said, I'm chaotic. I will go and record it on the spot and be like, that's funny. And I'll be like, post it on the internet. And seeing that, and like people seeing you regularly, will also be like, oh, I kind of remember this person. It's like when you hear a song, like if you've heard a song before and you hear it again, your brain is kind of like, ooh, I remember hearing this. I must have liked it because I've heard it once before. So, you know, just posting a lot, do a mix of, you know, really high quality posts. If you don't have a lot of time, like put together like short little videos. I think my scale challenges, I recorded them in the practice rooms at my previous job, and I would just like post them during my lunch break, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The thing I love about that conversation of quality versus quantity, the two are not mutually exclusive, right? One leads to the other. The more often you spend the time to produce high quality content, the more efficient you get at producing it, and thus the more often you can release it, right? And vice versa. The more you get used to producing content at a fast rate, the more efficient you get at it, and the higher quality you can have in the same period of time as you continue to post content. It's important to note that what you're doing is you're building two skills that are very closely related to each other. So just post, right? If you're looking to be a content creator, either as a passion or maybe even if you want it to be a major part of what you do, the first thing to do is to just start, right? Improve upon what you're doing as you need, as you desire, learn your audience, build and grow and develop upon your content for that audience to serve them, and so on and so forth. But yeah, we don't have to worry so much about how quote unquote good it needs to be. It needs to be something that helps you build your skill, you know? And at the end of the day as well, the beginning stage of your content, most people aren't going to see it anyway because you haven't built your audience yet. There's no one to see it, right? So spending so much time trying to make everything perfect when no one's going to see it, there's not really much of a point to that. That's just the reality behind what we're doing, right? Also, it's really great to see the process and the overall growth of someone's content, you know, when you do start to have a regular audience that's around you. So whatever place you start from there and do it consistently. And when we say consistency, we mean consistency with your process and building and growing and developing your process. You don't have to post every Tuesday and Thursday, right? If you're on YouTube, you don't have to post, 3 times a day, every single day, like 1 carousel and 2 reels every single day on Instagram. You don't have to do that. You can if you want to, if that's what makes you happy and it's something that's sustainable for you, do it. But if it's an obligation and it's a chore, don't bother. Do what's going to allow you to be in a state of strong mental health, right? Call back to previous podcast episodes, things that are sustainable, that's going to make you happy, that you'll be able to do for a long period of time. And then just continue to do it. Just get back on the horse and keep riding, right? Just keep doing it. I've done a lot of like studying and research about like the quality versus quantity type of thing as well, specifically on YouTube. So, there are lots of, there is a niche on YouTube for YouTube education, which I think is really cool. And it's kind of blown up over the past few years, really started blowing up during the pandemic, and it hasn't slowed down much since then, which is great. It's fun to learn those types of things. But you have interviews from people whose job it is to do that, as well as people who you've seen just make successful videos. Mr. Beast, for example, Jimmy Donaldson is his legal name. He's been interviewed. He's taken a lot of podcast interviews, etc., where he will talk about his, his outlook. And he will say things like it is much easier for him to get 5 million views on one video than it is to get, 100,000 views on the same number of videos that would get you to 5 million, right? And it's just less work. But what it means is you're not posting as often. And if that's the type of thing that you want to do, own it. That's okay, right? you kind of have to view your content, and now we're getting into like, if you're going to commit to this, right? If you go to the beach, right, there are waves, right? Sometimes there are tidal waves, big crashing waves that come by and they leave a mark on the entire beach, right? I love all of the visual cues and representations that you give, Kayla. They make me really, really happy.
Sorry, I'm just doing
They
an
also give me a
interpretive dance.
reason. They also give me a reason to keep shouting out our YouTube channel. Go subscribe to us on YouTube and watch Kayla be Kayla. She is the best. But you have huge crashing waves, right? They leave a really big impact, and the impact lasts for a little bit longer than an average wave that just comes up to a certain point and comes back, right? When you're posting content of super high quality with really big impact and less, frequent periods of time, it's like those crashing waves that leave that really big impact, and it lasts longer, but over time that will fade. On the other side of things, if you post frequent bits of content, they're like the ripples of the waves that come forward, and there's less period of time where that impact will be noticed on an individual basis, but you're posting more often. So in either way, your impact is going to last and grow and develop your audience, just as long as you commit to whatever it is that you have fully committed to doing. So again, get on the horse, ride the horse, take the journey, and have fun. And if you do that, I mean, followers, they'll come. I mean, they don't matter as much as you think it does for success. They do matter because they're individuals who have decided to take their time to consume your content, and that's a very powerful and special thing. So whether it's 5 subscribers on YouTube or whether it's 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, right? Each and every person in that group is really valuable and worth appreciating. So, we didn't talk about the business side of things. Maybe that's part 2 with Chloe. Can we do that?
I think that would be a really good idea to talk about that
Okay.
with Chloe, because she's doing great.
Yeah. You can do a lot more things. Like, you don't have to have a lot of followers to be successful as a business person on social media, right? So that's the sort of thesis to that, which we'll talk about next time.
Yeah. This podcast has been brought to you by the debate, spit versus condensation. Which side will you choose?
I don't even want to add anything to that. That is perfect. Wait, sponsorship.
Sponsored by the slobbery dog. I don't know. And then we'll post a video of just like Beethoven, like the movie Beethoven, where he's just like drooling. Sponsored by Beethoven. This podcast is sponsored by Beethoven.
Oh, this is a treat for those of you guys who have listened to the end. Thank you for listening to our episode. We love you.
Bye. Don't forget to stay up to date with us on social media. You can find us on YouTube at Chat TPT and individually on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Threads at TPT Solo and at MS Grant Music. We love hearing from you and staying connected with our amazing music community. If you enjoyed today's episode and found it valuable, please consider sharing it with your fellow trumpet players and music enthusiasts. Your support helps us grow and reach even more people. Please leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. It would mean the world to us. Your reviews help others discover our show, and we're always eager to hear your feedback. Thanks for tuning in and being part of the Chat TPT family. We'll be back soon with more inspiring conversations and valuable insights. Until next time, keep playing those beautiful notes and stay connected.